People think they've thought through distribution, but they really haven't. If you're only putting it on YouTube, you're not doing a good job, and it's not going to be seen by the right people.
Hey everybody, welcome to our first little fireside chat. It's a little warm, but we're feeling good. We're going to talk about video distribution, why it matters, the factors to consider when distributing your videos online, and some actionable insights and tips on how to do it better, get better results. So I'm here with Dan, partner in crime, CEO and director, executive of Blue Key Media.
Blue Key.
Terrible intro, but we're gonna dive right in. I'm gonna ask him some questions. So tell me why distribution matters. Why even talk about this when it comes to video? I mean, don't you just have to create like an awesome video, and like if you create an awesome video, isn't it just gonna get results for you?
Well, it seems like that's what a lot of people feel like. Everyone just thinks once I have a video, everything's gonna change, my life is gonna be better, people are gonna be more engaged, people are gonna love my content more, but rarely do we actually see that being the case. And I think part of it is because distribution is so looked over. It's given, third thought. It's not something that's at the forefront of the planning. So,
what do you mean? They're going to put it up on their YouTube channel. That's distribution. What do you mean?
Yes, putting it on YouTube and on your About Us page is not the end all be all to distribution. There's so much more that goes into it than that. And that's why people think they've thought through distribution, but they really haven't. If you're only putting it on YouTube, you're not doing a good job, and it's not going to be seen by the right people.
Okay, so I mean, what do you have to consider then if it's not just that simple? I mean, what goes into a distribution plan, or what is a distribution plan?
I mean, really a distribution plan considers, okay, well, how are we going to reach our intended audience? Breaking down how your viewer is going to be looking at your content. It considers that, and then it considers, are we going to be doing paid promotion? On what platforms? Are we doing YouTube pre-reel? Are we doing some sort of influencer network where you're sending the content out and trying to have influencers in the industry share it and promote it so that it gains wider distribution? Are you gonna contact local press and try and have them pick it up? Is it gonna be on TV? There's all these different things that people need to consider that they so often overlook. It's just complicated, right? There's a lot of things and people don't know where to start. And so they just think that putting it on YouTube or just sharing it on their Facebook page is gonna do something, and rarely does it actually gain the traction that they're looking for, that they're hoping for.
Sure, so what you're saying is people, if they do consider distribution, it's probably an afterthought. Like they thought about it after they made the video. And what you're saying is, before you even make your video, you gotta be thinking about how you're gonna distribute it, and then that's gonna affect how you even film it.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
And we do this all the time at Blue Key. We've got our 3-part approach to how we create video, and it's very intentional. Why? You have to consider strategy, you have to do a great job on the production side, and then you have to consider distribution. And all 3 of those have to work together in order to create an effective video, because if you're missing any one of those components, it's gonna fall flat in some fashion. And if you don't consider distribution as you're considering strategy, and even after the fact, then you might have this really pretty video that would be effective, but it's just not being seen by the right people and being distributed in such a way that's actually going to become an effective video.
And that's a shame for those who invest a ton of time and resources into creating that video to have it not get seen. That's such a letdown.
Right. I mean, you and I have seen it. Like, we create this really nice piece. And
everyone's excited about it, high-fiving.
Mm-hmm. And we think it's gonna do really great, but they don't necessarily see the results that you and I really think they could see had they put more resources behind distribution and what they're actually gonna do. So, I mean, it sucks.
Yeah, so, okay. someone wants to consider distribution before they even film, what kind of things should they be thinking about? What kind of things should they be considering as they make this distribution plan for their video?
Right. Well, I think first off, and this is all a part of strategy, is considering your audience. Who is your audience? Where are they viewing your content? Are they viewing it on their phone? Are they viewing it on the computer? Are they viewing it as they're walking downtown and they see it on some sort of display board? Are they on the train when they're watching it? Is that when they're going to be engaging with it? Are they going to be watching it with audio or not? Most of the time, I don't know what the statistic is, but it's like a crazy amount, like 50, 70% of all video that's watched on social media is with subtitles.
So it's higher than that.
Is it?
I
haven't.
I think it's like around 80 or 90.
It's a crazy amount, that's all I know. And so you need to consider, where are they interacting with it and how are they viewing it? You need to consider the nature of the content. Is it something that they're going to be willing to invest 5 minutes on, 10 minutes on? Or is it something where they're only going to be willing to give it 30 seconds? The messaging and how that plays into distribution. Are you in your messaging, are you going to tailor your script? Maybe you're having different versions for Instagram, for Facebook, for the web, for a landing page, and it's like tweaking the very end. So the hosting platform you're putting it on, is it going to be on YouTube? Is it going to be on Facebook? Is it going to be on Wistia, a landing page? That plays an important role too. Are you going to be doing paid promotion? Are you going to take the organic approach? Organic and paid are two completely different beasts. And if you're trying to go after one or the other, it's a completely different strategy that you're taking for the distribution and actually how you're getting it out there. So, you have to consider everything. How does that affect the end product, the end video, and how it's viewed? Because if you don't, you're missing out.
So you mentioned organic versus paid. How do you decide which one is right for your video, and how do you go about it?
There's a lot of factors to consider. One of the things that comes down to budget. Do you have money to put behind the video to promote it? Because in most instances, you're going to do a combination of both. The approach is going to be, we're trying to get organic reach and organic growth on that video because that is going to likely resonate the best with the audience that's viewing it, as opposed to seeing some sort of an ad. But depending on the nature of the video and the end result, you really need to think about end result too. And also the length of the campaign, like how long are you wanting this to go on? Because organic is only going to last a certain amount of time. You only have so much runway that organic reach is going to get your video before it's not relevant anymore. It's old and people aren't wanting to share it. So usually that organic, you're riding the wave and you're trying to do all these different tactics to build up that wave and make it larger so that it goes longer, it goes further, it impacts more. But inevitably, the wave is going to crash and it's going to die down. And so then how do you continue to propel that momentum and get it seen? Well, it's done by paid advertisement, which is important, and it can be extremely valuable.
Okay, what about hosting platform? Does it matter where you host it or which platform you choose to host your video on? YouTube, Vimeo, Wistia, wherever? Does that even matter?
Yeah, it matters a ton because each platform is tailored for a different purpose. For example, YouTube. A lot of people may assume that YouTube is just a go-to platform, or Vimeo. Those are the two popular mass video platforms. But a lot of the times, YouTube isn't necessarily going to reach people. YouTube is largely community-based, I feel, where the content you put out, you're putting out on a consistent, regular basis to build a following, to build a community. It's a source of information. It's not a great place to put a product video. It's not a great place to put, this corporate overview video, because people aren't going to YouTube to search that. They're going to your website to look for that type of content. Or they're being served that through some sort of an ad. For example, if you're United Airlines and someone's watching one of your videos, there's all the suggested content on the side. United Airlines has had a lot of bad press lately, and they may be watching some sort of company overview video, corporate video, and then on the side it's like, wow, United Airlines is terrible,
Passenger goes crazy on United Airlines flight and they kick him off.
Right, exactly. So there's risk of associating your name with negative press, or even with like a product video, especially since people usually won't be going to YouTube for that. You might serve up a competitor's product video. So there's those things to consider with YouTube. A lot of the times, and YouTube doesn't have great metrics either. So there's other better hosting platforms like Wistia, like Vidyard. Even Vimeo is getting better at statistics, but definitely Wistia and Vidyard are the premier, where you're able to do way more with your video platform. You're able to watch engagement, see where people are falling off. You can see the IP address of every single viewer, how many times that IP address views your content. If you have a CRM, that Wistia and Vidyard can loop into your CRM, and then you can start associating names with the IP addresses, and you can start seeing just how much they're interacting with your brand in general.
So it can become like a lead qualification tool in that way.
And a lead generation, because you can add a turnstile where it's like gated content. After a certain point, it asks for their name and email address, or a call to action at the end. There's just so much more possibility. But that's primarily for your website, for landing pages on your website. That doesn't replace, uploading videos to Facebook directly, uploading videos to LinkedIn directly, Instagram directly, So, and that's another thing, like on social media, you don't want to post just a link to your video. You need to be using the native video platform to Facebook, to LinkedIn, because in their algorithm, they are favoring that over a link that is going to YouTube, a competitor. So there's all sorts of things to consider when it comes to your viewing platform and how you're hosting it, because you can get a lot more information, a lot more data than you might otherwise be getting from YouTube and some other places. But doesn't mean YouTube doesn't have its place, It's just depending on the type of the content and where your viewer will likely view it.
Okay, so you're not going to want to put those, one-off corporate overview videos on YouTube, but if you are doing regular educational content, vlog content for your business, content that's going to build a community,
right,
a regular following over time, that's where you're going to want to put it.
Exactly. Content that's providing value in the form of education is going to do well on YouTube, and then people are going to start subscribing, and there's companies doing that all over the place. Lowe's, they have all sorts of how-tos and tutorials on how to use their products. That's super great, but nobody cares to watch a product overview video from Lowe's on YouTube. More than likely, if they're going to watch a product overview video, they're going to be watching it from a user, not from Lowe's itself. Why trust Lowe's when I feel like people trust YouTubers a lot more than they would trust the actual company in terms of reviewing the product. But in how-tos, you see Lowe's doing all sorts of stuff. You see all sorts of companies doing how-tos, educational content.
Because in that sense, they're the expert.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So how do you measure the effectiveness of your distribution? How do you even know how to do that?
Yeah, a lot of the times people are just relying on reach, on views, on engagement, how many likes is it getting, but that only tells so much of a picture. And sometimes views and engagement means nothing. Like, it's not important at all. If you look at a landing page and you only have 100 views, that doesn't matter, you know? It's all about what they did after they saw that video. You know, did they end up signing up for a form? Where did they drop off in that video? So, I mean, measuring video is difficult, but it's extremely important because you need to be tracking ROI. You need to be tracking how it's improving, and you also need to be learning how you can improve your video content for it to truly be as effective as possible. So, you know, if you're putting video on your homepage, track what, you know, different metrics, how long people are staying on your website, how, you know, how long they're engaging on it, and before video is there, and then once video is there, what changes, what happens. On a landing page, once you put a video, do you see greater conversions? Are you seeing more signups? Are you finding that people are following, you know, with Wistia and the whole IP address thing, and if you have a CRM, like, you can then track like all the different videos they saw on your website. So once you start releasing new videos, what content are they going to? Is that leading them to watch more content? And then ultimately, is that leading them to sign up, to download a piece of content, to engage in some sort of way? And then with, like, you know, Facebook, Instagram, different things like that, it's really easy to track after they'd seen a video, did they connect with the brand? You can track the entire user experience, the whole online experience, and how they're going from, you know, first point of contact to actually reaching out to your brand. So there's a lot of ways to do it. You just need to get savvy, and sometimes you're going to need assistance from other tools in your marketing stack.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me about distribution. For all those watching, please reach out, comment, share your questions. Let us know what other topics you want to hear us talk about with different guests. We're going to be pulling on different marketing experts, different people with a lot of different backgrounds to come in and talk about these things in greater depth and help you get the most out of your video and your video marketing.
Yeah, let us know in the comments what you found helpful and what you're doing for distribution, and if you're considering all these different factors.
All right, guys.
Until next time.